What's going on, everyone? My name is Miles. Welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm bringing you another one that was requested in the comments by multiple people, and that is the Advanced Pathfinder Grapple Guide. So as best as I know how, I want to make sure this video is meant for everyone of all skill levels. So not just you advanced players and not just you beginners, but it's going to cover every single skill level that I could possibly think of. So just in case you guys don't want to watch the entire thing, maybe you already know some, I'm going to leave some timestamps on the screen right now where you can just skip to the one that you want to learn, because this is going to cover some fairly basic Pathfinder movements that most of you already know, but there are some people that probably don't know them yet, so that's why I'm covering everything. So first off, I want to mention I do have a keyboard overlay for you guys, and hopefully this will help you out a lot as you can see what I'm doing and what I'm exactly pressing and not just having to trust what I'm telling you. This is something that may confuse you though, because I do have some pretty weird key bindings. I actually have my jump to scroll up and scroll down, and then my spacebar is actually bound to scroll up in my Corsair configuration. So you're not going to see me press the spacebar, but a lot of times I am pressing spacebar. It's just showing up as mouse 1 or mouse 2 because that's what it's bound to. So if you get confused, just know I am always using spacebar to jump unless it's for bee hopping. So for tip number 1, we have what I like to call the Tarzan swing. Now most people just call this the Pathfinder grapple swing or whatever, but I like to call it the Tarzan swing just because it just makes sense to me, and it's also easier to explain to someone. So most of you may already know this movement, but some of you may not be using it correctly. So I'm going to teach you guys how to get the maximum amount of speed and movement and distance while using this swing. So basically the gist of it is you want to place your grapple high up on a structure or a rock or a house or whatever it is, and then as you place that grapple, you're going to want to pull your mouse to the left and hold W and A, and as you approach the climax, you're going to want to swipe to the right with your mouse and press W and D. Now you'll see as I'm doing in this gameplay, it's not a fast swipe, it's a pretty subtle and slow swipe. You want to go with the movement of your grapple, and as you do this, it's going to let go by itself, and you're going to get the most speed and the most distance you can possibly out of this grapple. Now if you're on a controller, it works exactly the same way, just mimic the exact movements that you saw, but with your controller. So for instance, you're going to press your grapple. I believe Xbox One it's LB, and PS4 I think it's L1 is the grapple button, but you know what it is. So you're going to press your grapple button on a high structure still, and then move your right analog stick slightly to the left while you move your left analog stick slightly to the left and up, and then as you approach the climax, you're going to move your right analog stick more to the right, and then also move your left analog stick up and right, so diagonally right. So if that gets confusing for your controller players, basically everything that I do with the mouse as far as swiping right, swiping left, you are going to mimic that movement with your right analog stick, and everything that I say to do with WA or WD, you're going to mimic with your left analog stick. So WA is diagonally left and up, and then WD is diagonally right and up for your controller players. So that's the Tarzan swing. Now we're going to take it a step further and learn how to air strafe in the Tarzan swing. Now whenever you get done with the Tarzan swing, you're basically just left there floating in the air, and what you do next is up to you. Now if you just let go, you're going to come to a complete stop on the ground, which is not what you want to do, because you're going to lose your momentum and someone can take easy shots on you. So what you're going to want to do is air strafe in the air. Number one, it makes it harder to hit while you're in the air. Also, you get to choose and control where you land, and by doing that you can choose to land on another structure that can potentially give you more speed. So air strafing is really simple, really easy to do, and by the time you guys practice this 2 or 3 times, you're going to be really good at it. But while it is super easy, it's also super effective. So basically, after you get done with your Tarzan swing and you're left just floating in the air, you're going to take your mouse and either go left or right, depending on which direction you want to move. So if you want to move to the right, you're going to take your mouse, move to the right while pressing D on your keypad, or move to the left with your mouse and press A. Now this is going to allow you to change directions from left to right, and by doing that you're going to be able to control where you land. For instance, in this clip you'll see I did one specific grapple that forced me to land in one location because I did not implement an air strafe. But in the second grapple I actually was going to a similar location, but by implementing an air strafe I was able to change that to the direction of the balloon and grab the balloon before I fell to the ground and come to a complete stop. And also, once again, if you're on controller, super easy, just hold your right analog stick to the right and your left analog stick to the right, and then to go left you want to hold your analog sticks both to the left at the same time. It's very simple. Okay, so the next tip is actually pretty much 2 in 1. You can basically either use these separately or use these together to get that extra boost. So number 1 is to hold slide whenever you get done with your Tarzan swing. So as long as you choose to land in a specific location and you do it correctly with the air strafe, if you land on a rock or you land on a hill that's got momentum for you, and if you hold slide, you're going to keep that speed. Actually, you're going to get more speed instead of just landing and running. You're going to get more speed that's going to allow you to cover more distance faster, but it's also going to allow you to get away from enemies or opponents that may be shooting at you faster. So by doing slide, you're going to hold that momentum constantly, and if you add good consistent B hops with the slide, you're also going to get more distance. If you guys have not seen my video already, slide jumping actually gives you a 20%, I think, further increase of distance than just sliding does. So I talked about that in my advanced movement guide a few days ago, so you guys can go watch that if you want. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But to be honest with you guys, I don't always B-hop when I do this. Sometimes I just hold slide because it's easier. Also, the longer you hold slide, you can control where you want to jump. For instance, you don't want to necessarily B-hop as soon as you land because there might be a rock right in front of you that's going to stop you if you jump. But if you choose to wait that extra second, you can jump later and then actually hit the rock and get a double kind of slide boost that'll make you go even faster. So it's just learning the obstacles around you and learning how to use those to your advantage with the slide and B-hop. So obviously this is pretty simple to do. All you want to do is just hold slide after you get done with your Tarzan swing and air strafe. And the reason I talk about air strafing first is because if you just Tarzan swing and you just like land, you're not going to get that slide all the time. It's all about the momentum of where you choose to land. For instance, if you just land on flat ground, you're not going to get a really big slide boost. You're just going to come to a complete stop and not move whatsoever. The only case this is not true is if you're doing like a jump grapple, or maybe you're just grappling low somewhere on a building or a rock and you're not going that high, then you'll still have that momentum. Imagine it like a trajectory line or something. The higher you go and the stronger you come down, like if you come straight down, obviously you're not going to be able to get a forward slide boost. But if you stay low to the ground and it's just a small little archway, a small little arch and a small trajectory line, not very tall, your momentum's going to be going more forward than it is up, so you'll still be able to hold slide. And that could be good sometimes, especially in jump grapples when you're trying to escape, but not all the times when you're trying to cover the most distance. But don't confuse that with thinking that the higher you get, the further you're getting. You want to make sure you have a good trajectory line every time you grapple, which is why this is going to take practice over time. This is going to be something that you just do and implement in your games, and over time you'll learn that perfect trajectory of how to land perfectly, how to move perfectly in the air, how to get that perfect swing, and then you'll always have a good momentum when you land if you have the right trajectory. So the B-hop and slide is pretty much the same exact thing that I just told you. Every time that you do this, you want to be holding slide, and then sometimes you'll either hold slide or sometimes you'll hold slide and do a B-hop. Basically what I do is just have my jump to a scroll up or down, but in my case I have both, and so while I'm holding slide waiting to land, I'm just scrolling up and down so that as soon as I hit, I'm just like launching forward with a very far jump, as you'll see in this clip. So it could be useful sometimes, but just use it basically at your own discretion however you want to. It's not always really the best thing to do, but it definitely looks cool, and sometimes it actually could be the better choice. So next I want to talk about the jump grapple. Now the jump grapple is probably one of the oldest things that you guys have seen and heard about the Pathfinder movement guide and tips, but honestly I don't really see people using it correctly. A lot of people use it like you're seeing right now. They just hold it forward and then they don't turn their screen. They don't do any kind of like movement whatsoever other than just holding W and then jumping. So basically you just want to be running forward and have your grapple set to the blue color, meaning that you can grapple something, and have it at the furthest possible spot on your screen so that way it's giving you the most distance as possible. So whenever you do this, you then want to press your grapple, and once you hear it hit the ground, once you see it make that connection to the ground, you want to jump at the same time. So it's all about timing. This is something that kind of took me probably 5 games to get used to back when I first learned this method. It was something that kind of set me back when the new update come out and they changed this grapple a little bit, but it didn't take me too long, and this is something that you guys can learn very quickly. All you got to do is just practice this timing, but this is not pushing his jump grapple to the max. This is just limiting what he can do with the momentum and speed with this jump grapple. So if you're just holding forward and you're just holding W and then you jump and then you run, or even if you slide, you will get a good amount of speed and momentum. But the best way to get the most speed, the most momentum, the most distance is to go forward, press your grapple like you would initially, But as soon as that grapple makes contact with the ground, jump and then hold WD while slightly moving your mouse to the right, or hold WA while slightly moving it to the left. And then as you approach the climax, which is your maximum height, then you'll want to go in the opposite direction, basically like you did with the Tarzan swing. And then you're going to stay low to the ground because it's a jump grapple, and then you can hold, slide, and even implement B-hops if you want. And while holding slide, this is going to give you the most distance and the fastest speed for that slide. And if you're not comfortable with this, you could stick with the regular jump grapple. It's definitely extremely useful over nothing. But once you've mastered that regular jump grapple, I do suggest you guys learning how to take it to the next step, how to take it further by doing this a little bit more advanced jump grapple. Lastly, this is not really a tip, it's more so of a bonus. Just in case you guys didn't know, you can also kind of do that Tarzan swing motion on a moving train going forward, and it will sling you really fast. So you guys can practice that if you want to. It's not all that necessary, but it could be super fun, could be super cool, and could be useful to get away from a person. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this made sense. I tried to explain it as best as I can. Also with that overlay, hopefully this will help you. You might have to watch it in slow motion. You can set the playback speed on YouTube to slow motion if it would help you. But also, if you guys have any questions, feel free to just ask me in the comments. I'll definitely help as best as I can. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for all the support you've been showing me recently. It really does encourage me a lot and helps me to have that motivation to make these videos constantly. I know you guys enjoy them, and that makes me happy that you guys enjoy them. So I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and if you want to see more tips and tricks like this. I have a lot of videos on my channel kind of giving some movement tips and aiming guides and tips and stuff like that. Also, I'm going to be posting a lot more in the future, so subscribe to the channel if you want to see stuff like that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace.